Hey Pisces, this is Michael with the September 2022 reading. And honestly, I was just really sitting in your energy for quite some time. I just did the Virgo reading before yours, and your energy feels so different. You feel so much calmer. And I really felt drawn to go to your energy next, actually, which is kind of interesting. And I almost wonder if maybe this month you're kind of acting like the rock for other people. You are the harbor in a storm in some way. And it's interesting kind of paying attention to the time and place I'm recording this in. We actually did just have a storm here, and we are now at the end of it. And as I was connecting with the energy, I literally saw the light kind of peeking through the clouds. And it kind of reminds me of how that light comes through after a storm. And so I just have this very strong metaphor for you of you kind of being the light after the storm, or finding light after the storm. And honestly, I feel like it's interesting that this is kind of your energy this month. We are obviously in Virgo season, or maybe not so obvious, maybe you don't know. But we are in Virgo season, which for you, Pisces, is your opposite sign. There is a lot of focus on other people this month, and that might even be taking the form of being in service to other people, or being there for your partner. That might be something that comes up as well, or just a lot of focus on partnerships, on relationships for you. Wow, we even have the fish here. We have you showing up for the first card, for the animal card. And I will pull some tarot cards in a moment. I just kind of wanted to start off with the animal cards for some reason this month. Whenever I see fish, it really is about going with the flow. And honestly, I think this is why you are shining this month. Because we do have Mercury going retrograde on September 9th. Mercury will be going retrograde in Libra, and then it will actually move backwards into the sign of Virgo. So for those of you who don't really know anything about the astrology, Mercury is a planet that pertains to communication, the mind, and when it goes retrograde about 3 to 4 times a year, it can really bring some chaos into our daily lives. And it's ultimately a time of letting go of control and just being very flexible, being very fluid, and that's why we have the fish here. This is really much about you being the master of flow. And I think you're teaching other people how to go with the flow this month as well. I have that sense. And specifically with the energy from this card in this reading, it's almost like I see the school of fish. It's not just one of you, which is interesting. Yeah, we have the buffalo. I almost feel like you have this very grounded presence to you this month. And for most of the world, when Mercury goes retrograde, it really affects us. I'm a Virgo myself. And so I'm very affected by Mercury because I'm ruled by Mercury. But for you, it almost feels like you know how to operate when everything is out of your control. Like you naturally have that gift, Pisces, or this group naturally has that gift. And you are very centered and grounded. That doesn't mean that you're just completely passive this month. That doesn't mean that you completely give up control. Like, we still have to live our lives. We still have to go to our jobs and pay our bills and feed the kids and whatever it is that our responsibility is. But I feel like you're just very grounded. And it's interesting that in this buffalo card, I'm noticing this lightning bolt. And we talked a lot about the storm energy. And this buffalo just has this very grounded presence and just keeps looking forward. It's very, very earthy, very solid. So I feel like you have a lot of wisdom this month, which is very beautiful. And like, it's not even just what you know, it's what you feel. So let's pull some tarot cards for you. Let's kind of crack into this. And as I'm shuffling here, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the astrology. And with Libra going Mercury going retrograde in Libra, this happens on the on the 9th of September, right before the full moon in your sign on the 10th, there is a lot of focus on kind of the hidden aspects of life, the occult, secrets, sexuality, the depths, things we don't necessarily talk about, or things we're taught not to talk about. And that's a little bit different for everybody. And that's kind of what Libra represents for you, specifically, Pisces. We do have the Eight of Wands showing up in the past. There's been a lot of movement. Things have been very fast-paced. And it's almost like things are slowing down. Before Mercury even goes retrograde, before it appears to move backwards in the sky, Mercury slows down. And there's a very intense focus during this time on something. It's almost like there's a lot of intense focus on Libra energy. And again, for you, this has to do with transformation. This has to do with intimacy and magic and the occult and spirituality. Again, like all of these things that we don't normally talk about. Your mind is just very much there, and you're very intuitive because of that as well. We do also have the Three of Cups. And that's a very interesting energy for you. I actually want to clarify, why is the Three of Cups here? I mean, I think this speaks to the people. This speaks to your friends. This speaks to your social circle. This speaks to your sisters or brothers or siblings, your kin. It's like you're moving together with someone. You're moving in a direction. You're moving with other people. Three of Cups and Emperor in reverse. I feel like you are either supporting someone who is in a controlling situation. This could be a relationship or work situation. Or you could be getting support from your friends about a controlling relationship or controlling situation. I feel like this really is about letting go of control, though, the Emperor in reverse. Upright, the Emperor is kind of this divine power. It's more aligned. In reverse, it's almost like trying to hold on to something. But it feels like this is someone else's energy, actually. This doesn't feel like you. It feels like you're supporting a friend. Or maybe this could be a partner, but this actually specifically feels more like a friend or a sibling or someone kind of like more equal. Or not equal. More like a peer, I guess, is a word that works. And we have the Devil. We have the Devil coming up here as well. But I'm not feeling like you are stuck in this energy, Pisces. You see the things that aren't working for yourself and other people very, very clearly this month. I feel like you are doing your shadow work, or you've done your shadow work, and you see the patterns that aren't working. And it's just like you can't ignore these things. You can't ignore these toxic or unhealthy things anymore, whether this is in your life or in somebody else's life. You're just very aware. And I don't feel like you have this aggressive reaction to it either. You're just clocking it. That's what I get with this Buffalo energy. You're clocking the things that aren't healthy or functional anymore. I do see with the Fish, you might try going with the flow at first. You might try to just let things be. But I think you have to at least acknowledge something. The Eight of Pentacles. This is actually showing up as a challenge or kind of where you need to be putting your focus this month. You do need to be working very hard and very diligent on something. I do know we have Mars in your 4th house, or in the part of your life that rules over home and family and stability, kind of your emotional roots, your ancestry, your well-being. Some of you, there is stuff coming up with family and your upbringing, belief systems that you were raised with. I get that with the Devil. And I think that's why it's important for you to do shadow work. And that might be coming out in conflicts this month as well. You might be becoming very aware of patterns in yourself, as well as other people's patterns. that don't necessarily come from a very aligned place with the devil here. But I feel like you're working things out. And that's why I'm not really worried about the devil being here. And even the Emperor in reverse. It's like you're figuring out how to work through this energy. And it's almost like you kind of need to slow down a little bit. Interesting. We have the Lovers in reverse. There could be something going on in an intimate relationship, a partnership, or a marriage. Something feels out of harmony, out of unity, out of whack. And this makes a lot of sense just because we do have a lot of focus in Virgo energy this month. And Virgo represents the part of your life that pertains to your committed relationships and partnerships. And this could be a romantic partnership. This could technically be a business partnership too. We do have quite a bit of like that kind of material energy here. But I'm actually feeling like there's something coming up in partnerships for you. Some of you are actually identifying patterns of codependence or not having good boundaries. And it feels like you're navigating boundaries. That feels really, really important to me. And I feel like you're seeing yourself very, very clearly this month, specifically with the full moon in your sign. The full moon is actually going to be very close with Neptune in your sign as well. And it's almost like a bubble is being popped, or this wall is coming down, or this veil is coming off, and you are seeing yourself very, very clearly. You're seeing how you've been working through the world, especially if you've just been go, go, go. It's like you might have been locked in cycles or patterns, kind of tossed by the waves here. And it's almost like in being so active and being so busy, you haven't actually had any sort of control or any sort of mastery, especially with your emotional well-being. And I feel like you're addressing that. You're seeing that. And that could also be coming up in relationships for you as well. And seeing, unhealthy attachment styles come up and working with that. Even if you aren't in a relationship, you might just be seeing patterns in people you have been in relationships with in the past, whether that is even committed or not. It is possible some of you could be ending a relationship this month. That is definitely possible. You might feel slighted in a relationship, actually, with the Seven of Swords. That is interesting. There might even be something about an affair or a third-party situation with the Three of Cups. And I know a lot of people, a lot of readers don't like talking about third-party situations. Neither do I necessarily, but I'm not afraid of talking about them. I actually almost feel like you might be the one who is being tempted by something this month. And if this isn't talking about like a sexual thing or a romantic thing, Pisces, it's almost like, who am I committing my energy to? Who am I really investing my energy into? Do these people have my best interests at heart? Or am I getting in kind of a sketchy situation? And that might be something that you should just pay attention to, even though you are quite grounded, or you need to ground. You need to also look out for yourself, too. What else do we have for Pisces? What else is going on this month? I kind of want to just look at my astrology notes here. What is going on for Pisces this month? We do also have a Cazimi that is happening between the Sun and Mercury on the 23rd. This is actually happening in Libra. I feel like some of you are wanting to explore something sexually, to be honest. And it's almost like you feel like you can't have that and a relationship at the same time. It's almost like you have some sort of taboo around something sexual for you, which is interesting, and that's kind of coming in a little bit. When I'm talking about a cazimi here, what this basically is when a planet moves through the heart of the sun. That's what the word cazimi means. And so Mercury retrograde is kind of moving backwards right before it goes back into the sign of Mercury, or I'm sorry, the sign of Virgo. It is meeting with the sun that is just entering into the sign of Libra, and they will be right on top of each other. And this is a moment of clarity. And even though we have this Mercury retrograde throughout most of the month, if there is a time period where you really need to get stuff done, that's actually a really good time to do it, that part of the retrograde. It can also be something being revealed, maybe someone's deceptions, someone lying to you. I'm going to be honest, this is interesting. I'm almost getting something with like a sexually transmitted disease or infection. I don't know why that came in. That might be for some of you. Someone might be lying about a status. Don't love that energy. Or they might just not know. I'm kind of getting something with that for some of you, actually. I'm going to put this over to the side here. Anything else about this energy? Some of you are worried about something. Some of you are worried about your sexual health, or just worried about something in general. There's a lot of potential to get stuck in your head with the Nine of Swords and with Mercury being retrograde. But again, you know you're doing this. You know you're kind of like making yourself a little bit crazy, and maybe some of you are afraid that you're sick. But very often with the Nine of Swords, it is kind of just in your head. I almost get this energy for some of you. It's like you've done something and now you're worried about the consequences of that thing. And, you know, I'm a very sex positive person. Like, live your life, do things safely, just be very consensual, be very open in your communication. But I almost get this energy where it's like some of you, are having a sort of sexual encounter or some sort of encounter that you're like, oh my God, what if I've exposed myself? What if I've done something to jeopardize my health or just my own boundaries? That could be something that comes up. Maybe this isn't even about an STD or STI. Maybe this is just about you really feeling like you've crossed your own boundaries in some way, your own value system. And I mean, that's very personal. I'm not telling you that's what you did. Again, I'm a very sex positive person. As long as you're just being very open and honest, like, live your life. But I feel like there's something that feels very sneaky, something that doesn't feel very good. There is the Lovers in reverse. I'm wondering if some of you are actually involved with someone who's in a relationship. That could also be energy as well. And I feel like that actually comes out more towards the end of this month, which is kind of interesting. I really feel like this is going to be happening. This is going to be happening with Mercury retrograde in Virgo, I do think. And it's interesting because Mercury is going to be forming an opposition with Jupiter in Aries. Jupiter is one of your co-ruling planets. And again, it's like your values. It feels like your values are somehow being compromised. And that could have to do with a sexual thing. And I mean, if this isn't resonating, then this just isn't your reading. And that's fine. You're welcome to watch the video for your moon or rising sign. But I feel like there's something about like this desire to explore or to go deeper than your value system has allowed you to look before. And that could really look any number of ways. It doesn't have to just be about sexual exploration or sexuality. It could also just be about... It could even be about spirituality, to be honest with you. Because it's interesting that the Lovers, I use the Rider-Waite, this is like Adam and Eve. And there's that serpent in the background too. It's like trying to bring these two seemingly opposing energies into balance this month, and it's almost like you're sneaking behind your own back to get different needs met, or like lying to yourself. There could even be self-deception that's going on, especially with the devil here. But I feel like this is actually healthy and important at the same time. Some of you are going through a situation, but you do need to walk away from it with the Five of Swords. I really feel like there's an energy here, especially a Gemini or Capricorn energy or even Aries energy, that you might be needing to distance yourself from a little bit, or even walking away from. You might not be necessarily blocking this person, but you might be just investing a lot less of your energy in this person. I do feel like there is kind of a dramatic thing happening with a very close relationship. This could be romantic. This could even just be a really close friend. It's almost like figuring out what your boundaries are. And like, again, it's like, even though there's the Seven of Swords and the Five of Swords and the Devil, like, most of the time I would read these cards and just be like, yeah, someone is being really shady and lying to you and being deceptive to you. The thing is, Pisces, like, I feel like you're very aware of what's going on in your relationships. And it's almost like, it's not even about this other person. It's like, how have I compromised my own values, my own boundaries in relationships? And what can I do to work on that? How can I build better boundaries? How can I focus my energy in a positive way now? And that's really the question that I am getting for you this month. And especially when we are going into Libra season on the 22nd, it does feel like there is a lot of focus on your shadow work, specifically regarding beauty and creativity. Yeah, very, very interesting reading. You will have to let me know how exactly this is resonating in your life right now. And I do feel like in the middle of the month specifically, there is a lot coming up with relationships, because that's when we have the Sun forming opposition with Neptune in your sign. That is on the 16th. And Venus is also in Virgo this month as well. And with Venus entering Virgo, there is a lot of focus on relationships and partnerships. We also have the Beaver here. Yeah, focus on building long-term foundations this month. And maybe that doesn't even involve other people right now. You need to focus on building your stability. And it's like paying attention to your emotions, but still being practical, still dealing with things. That's very Beaver, kind of working both in the elements of water and earth. And I do feel like there is a project or something that you need to commit to. And it's almost like committing to yourself, actually, committing to what is important for you. I want to pull one more oracle card here. Also just being attentive to time. For some reason, these videos like to cut out after a certain time period. I've tried changing that, so I'm going to try and wrap this up. All paths lead home. Inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze within. Yeah, that feels really important. And it's almost like you need to find this home. I did actually pull the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. I forgot to talk about it. I feel like some of you are dealing with like sexual shame or spiritual shame. There's something about shame and that has to do with upbringing. And it's interesting because it's like if you're trying to find home in a relationship or even in a place, it's like you need to find that inside of yourself right now. And I feel like you have that very wise energy that you're able to do that this month. And if you are in stormy weather right now, there is an end to this. You're coming out of a very stormy period, and I feel like you do need to go within. And it's like, this isn't something that another person can give you with the Lovers in reverse. It's almost like you've been trying to get your needs met through someone else, and these needs either can't be met through someone else, or you've been doing it in a very subtle, or even, I don't want to say coercive, deceptive way, manipulative way, where it's almost like, I'm going to give you all these things. I'm going to like give you these things because that's what we do. It's an exchange, right? But it's almost like there's this expectation that if you compromise yourself for someone, someone's going to do the same. And I think you're realizing that's not the foundation for a healthy relationship. Anyways, let's read this card. It's normal to look to the external world for answers and guidance. What's revolutionary is turning your gaze inward. You're being called to source your guidance from within, to study the terrain of your inner landscape, to develop a reliable relationship with your soul. The more time you spend connecting with your soul, the deeper the connection will become. The challenge for empaths is staying connected without cutting off from the world. The best way to do this is to develop a daily practice that helps you to keep checking in, to draw on the wisdom within and let that be the authority in your life. If this card appears, you may be called to develop or switch up your spiritual practice, to get in the habit of turning your gaze within, getting centered for the day, before consuming anything from the outside world, to start from a feeling of at-homeness, and throughout each day to find simple ways to keep coming home. This doesn't mean switching off the realities of today's world. We need as many conscious people as possible living with their eyes wide open. Rather, it's a call to start your gaze from a place of connectedness, grace, and devotion. So when you go out into the world and when you let the world in, you do it from an unshakable state of being, a state where you draw your strength, authority, and guidance from a place deep, deep within. How are you being called to turn your gaze within? And one last thing that kind of comes into my mind too, especially with the Devil and Three of Cups, some of you might have been using substances or just like, this doesn't even necessarily need to be like alcohol or drugs. Like, this could even technically be caffeine, which technically is a drug, but it's almost like using certain things to keep going and moving and kind of meeting the demands or expectations of your life. But I feel like there is a shift there. There's something about like sobriety here, I think too. Just because it's like you're going to this external thing, but ultimately there is something internal that you need to do. So honestly, Pisces, like, this is very much about doing your shadow work this month and really becoming aware of how you've been kind of operating almost on autopilot and how that isn't working for you anymore and what it is that you need to change and how your relationships need to change. And for some of you, there are relationships that will end. You may need to end a relationship. But honestly, like, you'll kind of know if that advice is for you. It could just be the case too that something isn't working in your relationship and you need to be honest with yourself. And in order to do that, you need to go within. And you can't just kind of swim with the crowd. You almost have to lead. Anyways, Pisces, those are all the messages I have for you this month. I do hope that this was helpful. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. All of my links are in the description box down below if you're looking for a reading or distance Reiki session with me this month. I really do feel like a lot of people are going to need Reiki in September, to be honest, and even at the end of August when I'm recording, I'll probably have a little sale at some point. So keep that on the radar. I'll have that in the comment section down below this video. And I will see you all next time. Take care, Pisces. I'm sending you all my blessings and love your way.